Welcome to The Behaviorist with Work Wisdom, where we help you adopt high-performance mindsets, behaviors, communication, and culture. I'm your host, Sarah Colantonio. Our intention for the Behaviorist podcast is to share accessible, concrete practices that you can weave into your whole life to begin a shift toward joy and meaningful achievement. We have a special topic today. We're turning our focus to leadership development, executive coaching, for educators, people in the world of education. And I'm really grateful to have Dr. Maria Hoover on the podcast with me. Maria, thank you so much for being here. Maria happens to be an executive leadership coach on the Work Wisdom team, and you do have many other leadership roles and skills and accomplishments under your belt, but we're very grateful that you lend your wisdom here at Work Wisdom. So thanks again for doing this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So today we want to talk a little bit about leadership development and executive coaching for educators. The big news is you did your research on this, the importance of it. But what I'm really curious about when it comes to coaching and leadership development, what drew you to it in the first place? What made you interested in that as a topic?
So as I was looking and researching and trying to figure out what I wanted to study, I felt like that I had a passion and drawn toward something that had to do with the investment that we have in our leadership development. And so, and I'm also part of a lot of different leadership teams. So some that, some organizations that invested heavily into leadership development, and then some that didn't quite invest as much. And then looking at how in education specifically, we have high turnover for senior leadership members as well as principals and assistant principals. It is just a fact. The shelf life right now of a superintendent is about 4 years and a principal is about 3.
Whoa.
And so, and that's not everywhere, but that just seems to be kind of like in my walks of life, what a lot of people are discussing at this point.
Is it because of the pressure?
It's pressure,
okay.
It's stress, it's the amount of hats you have to wear, and sustainability and work-life balance, I think, for a lot of people, and just dynamics of it. So what it kind of said to me was, maybe we could keep them longer if they had a toolbox of more than just strategies for the job, but looking at people as the human being that they are, and what is it that they need. And having been in senior leadership positions, I thought about that for myself. Like I had received executive coaching, so it was really me learning about me as a leader, and not what I do, separate from all the tasks I have to complete, separate from all of the pressures. Who am I? And so I started asking that question to some of the leaders that I knew, like, who are you as a leader? Immediately they want to talk about what they do.
Right. Okay, I can't talk about myself.
Right. And so they want to tell you everything that they do, or they speak in terms of whoever their customer or audience or, in education, students. And I was like, yes, but I'm asking you who you are. Yeah. And it got to a point where it gets a little uncomfortable, because that's not an easy question to ask. Yeah. And so I'm like, how are you able to empower and grow others if you're not sure about you? And that tells me, do you know how you're showing up? And are you able to create some sort of work-life harmony in order to, but it's because you're aware of you. So that's what drew me to the topic. And then in addition to that, through my executive coaching experience for myself, as an executive coach with Work Wisdom, I just started to learn so much about leaders. Yeah. And so, that's really what made me want to really delve in.
Yeah, and you had mentioned before too, something that was compelling was seeing a difference. I mean, so I think that, like, going from maybe I've seen leaders who didn't have quite as much confidence, or I guess it comes down to even that lower self-awareness, like not realizing their extent of power, like what they can actually do.
Right.
And then seeing them recognize it and grab it is so gratifying.
Right. It is gratifying. It's gratifying to see someone who wasn't aware they struggled with confidence.
Yeah.
Realize it's actually confidence, or someone who overuses collaboration and needs to incorporate a little bit more independence. And so, or somebody who avoids conflict, or someone who needs to press pause because their assertiveness comes out a little bit too much. Having them start to see that, and then inevitably, even though, you keep the conversation as professional, you can see them start truly reflecting on even their personal life. Like, oh, maybe I should. And because it's just who you are. So you're learning who you are. For some people, that's the first time they're able to do that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too what you were saying about the difficulty with talking about themselves, at least at first, because I have this assumption about people that go into education. They do, it's for a good reason. Like they usually are pretty selfless. And so it's like a unused muscle or something to grow in self-awareness, except we know leaders need to have self-awareness to have any success. But they're so used to helping other people and wanting to know what other people need and being there for other people and all of those things.
Which then dovetails really nicely into I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so another area that I have worked a lot with is how to focus. And in order to focus in an age of distraction, there are 3 areas: focusing on ourselves, focusing on others, and then focusing on the wider world. And the question then becomes, which one of those do you feel like you're not focusing enough on?
Yeah.
And inevitably in a service industry, it's yourself.
Yeah.
So that's the whole purpose of the coaching.
Okay.
So what I found in my research was those school districts and organizations that invest in leadership development. So I looked at leadership development as a whole. I looked at like the one-size-fits-all professional learning opportunities for leadership. And then I looked at specifically executive coaching, and mentoring also is in there.
Okay.
So looking at those three distinct things and opportunities, those districts who definitely invest in some sort of leadership development have a higher rate of administrator retention, one would think, right? So that is a true statement. However, for sustainability, and my study was qualitative, so I got a lot of firsthand information from people. That is insufficient.
Okay.
So for long-term sustainability, overwhelmingly, people are looking for it to become individualized for them in some way. Yeah. And some of the comments that kind of surrounded the study that stuck out to me included things like, I'm a better decision maker because I know who I am.
Yep.
Or I appreciate when we do talk about leadership skills as a whole, sometimes it doesn't translate right away into what I'm dealing with or how I'm feeling at that time. And then when you got into the executive coaching, it was like some of what I'm learning is keeping me here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In terms of my role. So I think that it shows the importance of individualizing what leadership development could look like for the person in front of you.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to notice organizations and companies that do invest in it. It seems like your research with school districts might translate to those other industries, other entities. But what I'm really curious about, we talk about leadership development and it sounds good, and I think people are open to it being like a budget line item. But tell me what it means to you. Like, what is leadership development entail? Is it like, what does it mean to you? What are you talking about?
Yeah. So for me, I feel like there are three distinctions in leadership development. So the first one is your overall, I'm going to invest in this. I'm going to bring somebody in. We're going to talk a little bit about how we are going to behave as leaders. And so name a topic. We're going to get better at communication, or we're going to get better at problem solving together. And another one is collaboration. So we're gonna spend time developing our leadership team in that skill. Executive coaching for me is that one-on-one professional development process where you have an actual trained coach. And I say that intentionally because when I get to mentoring, I feel like sometimes it gets clouded.
Okay.
But there's a trained coach, and there's a focus to strengthen leadership behaviors and support personal growth, and the person then can see how they fit into the organizational growth.
Yeah. Okay.
And then mentoring is around performance.
Okay.
So that's a little bit more of your job embedded. I'm going to mentor you, whether you're new, whether you're a seasoned employee. I'm going to mentor you through this process. So in a school district, if for the 80th time I went through some sort of a budget process, but there was something as a new line item where we decided to tackle the process differently, and somebody says, I'll mentor you through that. That's different for me than coaching, which is, okay, who are you as a leader, and how are you showing up in conversation, and how are you showing up for a difficult conversation?
Yeah.
And what are you worried about? And so you have people who like, for me specifically, when I get into those conversations, sometimes I overuse assertiveness. I got to dial that back. Right. And understand that there's another person at the other end of that.
Yeah.
It's not just about me. And then what can I do to support my team in knowing that they're all coming, they're all showing up differently.
Yeah.
So a lot of reflective practice
Okay.
is what I look at in terms of what it really means to me. Like, what does it really mean to reflect?
Yeah.
Because I think there are practices that go along with reflecting on your leadership skills or reflecting on your performance if you need to get mentored, that I think are important also.
I love the combination because I love to learn. I think people do love to learn, but I think that the learning development and getting concepts like understood with executive coaching, you can start to get really deep into it, and you can. Something I've noticed is a concept can then be taken out into the real world and practiced. And then they get to come back and say how it was.
I tried that. Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Like even the concept. So this might even help the listeners a little bit, but talking about workplace vitality.
Right.
And what you look like as a leader in that looks a lot different than I need help with.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when you're really trying to retain people and you really want them to lead, all of those things that I talked about are also important. They definitely have a place. Mentoring has a place. The leadership development has a place for sure. And none of it was bad. None of it came up as, oh, we don't need that.
Yeah.
Every single thing came up as, this is a great foundation, or this is a great extension, or this is what's really helping me right now in my time and place.
So here's my question. So with your research, what you came away understanding is, number one, you said it needs to be specific. It needs to be tailored to the person. Is there, what else did you learn? Like what were some of the takeaways that if somebody's interested in, if maybe there's a superintendent or maybe there's a CEO that is thinking about this for their team, like, is there anything else that you took away from it?
So one of the big things that I don't think, this was a surprise to me.
Okay.
In a good way. But I spent a lot of time reflecting on this. What are the fiscal implications of administrator retention or leadership retention? And so we all know Gen Zs out there who are, and I have 3 of them that have my last name, and they're looking, like they're on kind of a cycle. So they're not going to stay somewhere where A, they don't believe they can grow, and B, they don't feel valued.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. And so one of the things that I took away was the amount of the cost, let's say that, the cost of administrator turnover.
Yeah.
So, and that's not just, there's monetary value attached to that. So when someone leaves, you have whatever you're paying for them as they exit. There's a cost of time to bring someone in. There's a financial cost to hiring. There's a financial cost to onboarding, and then there's a financial cost to maintain. Let's say that's one leadership position.
Yeah.
Or let's say it's 4.
Yeah.
And what the other cost is, it also changes your culture. Now you're investing in more time into culture building, again, sustainability of your organization, sustainability specifically of your buildings could be. So that turnover has a high cost. Yeah. So if you invest in the leadership development on the front end, it's almost a proactive approach to maintaining and retaining your administrators, and they're getting something out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, fascinating.
Yeah.
So that is a good surprise.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that. And as it came out in the research, I spent a lot of time just sort of delving into that and thinking, wow, if I have 7 principals and I lose 3 of them, that's an impact on the entire school district. Right. Financially, and with time, and with culture, and with stability, and everything else the school districts are dealing with. So
yeah, it goes along with research that Frances Frye from Harvard and Ann Morris found on high-performing teams, where you really need a combination of your team experiencing your high expectations, like your high level of performance that you expect from them, but also they need to experience your commitment to their success. Yeah. And it seems like investing in leadership development and executive coaching it's such a huge way to be like, we want you here, we want you to grow, and we care about you as a whole person. Because I think for some leaders, one or the other might be easier for them, but this is, the cliche, put your money where your mouth is. It's right. This is a way to demonstrate.
In the absence of that, there were, in my research also, there were high levels then of burnout. The other one that surprised me was isolation.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So a lot of isolation, loneliness.
Yeah.
And that cliche quote, it's lonely at the top. Loneliness is a real thing. And so the more you know, and then that affects your confidence, that affects your ability to be independent, because you're craving other people. So I think it's important, again, like I just go back to the fact that like knowing yourself and knowing that that's something that's important to you, or what is important to you, or what you value, or the work you're going to run to, I think allows them to then have the confidence to become involved a little bit more in the organization.
Yeah. And what's so beautiful about it, especially with coaching, I think, is that it's not mentoring. We're not telling people what to do. The coach is pulling the wisdom out of the person sitting across from them. And what gives you more confidence than realizing, oh, I do have some confidence. I do have some wisdom. I do have some insight. And then they're able to do unbelievably courageous things.
It is. And pulling out the fact that a strength is not... It's interesting because when we talk about building capacity around strengths, having conversations with people about, like, can you identify your strengths? Or can you identify strengths on your team?
Yeah.
A lot of people go back to, oh, this person does this really well.
Yeah.
Or this person doesn't fit because they don't do what we do. And I'm like, oh, back up. What is a strength?
Yeah.
Do you understand your strengths? And as they start to understand their strengths, they're like, oh, it's not just about what this person can accomplish.
Right.
It's about building on those strengths and utilizing those strengths, but you can't do that until you know what they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
It's all about awareness. It's amazing. I thank you for doing this research and for coming in to the recording studio to share about it and the takeaways. I really appreciate what you've been able to learn and share with others. I think the fact that you've had coaching and then you are an executive leadership coach. I think I love that you have kind of both sides of that experience. And I'm also so grateful to you for being part of this movement of helping others in the workplace enhance their individual and collective team performance. Thank you, listeners, for downloading The Behaviorist. We hope you'll subscribe. You can always contact us through our website, workwisdomllc.com, where you can enjoy Work Wisdom press and productions, basically our library. Feel free to reach out and ask questions and give suggestions of topics you'd like us to explore for future episodes. Thanks for listening.